Welcome to the Criminal Law and Procedure Lecture Series. At the end of each slide, there will be a 10-second delay. Use this time to stop the lecture and take your notes. When you are done, push play to continue. This lecture will begin in 5 seconds. Welcome to Criminal Law and Procedure Lecture 1.4 on general versus inchoate crimes, and let's talk about one of America's greatest movies, The Godfather. This is the story of Don Vito Corleone, who is the head of the Corleone crime family, and in the middle of the movie, the enemies of the Corleones attempt to assassinate the Don. The Don lives, but his son Michael realizes that those people who ordered the assassination must now die in order to protect the Corleones and to stop a gang war. So, with the help of people like Peter Clemenza, Michael arranges a meeting with the two guys who ordered the assassination, Solazzo the drug dealer and his heavy, Officer McCluskey. And in the middle of this meeting, Michael pulls out a gun and kills both men in the middle of the restaurant. Now, that happened in the Bronx, but what happens if this was to occur in Virginia? Code of Virginia Section 18.2-32 says, murder by poison, lying in wait, imprisonment, starving, or by any willful, deliberate, or premeditated killing is murder of the first degree. Did Michael commit first-degree murder? He has the mens rea. He willfully, deliberately, and with premeditation committed actus reus, or a bad act that was the killing. He has mens rea and actus reus at the same time. We have concurrence. The proximate cause is Michael killing the men, and the corpus delicti is two dead guys. We have a completed crime. But what about everything else that happened here? Don Corleone survives the assassination attempt. Are the assassins guilty of murder? There's no corpus delicti. And what about Peter Clemenza? Is this guy guilty of anything? Well, that's what we're going to look at today. The difference between complete or general crimes and incomplete or inchoate crimes. With that said, go to the next slide. You already learned what it takes to prove that a person committed a specific crime. Now we're going to learn about a completely different set of criminal laws. This is general versus inchoate crimes. General crimes set forth unwanted behaviors that are prohibited by society. Things like murder, arson, burglary, and cursing in public. All of these crimes have something in common. You violate a specific crime. You commit a specific prohibited offense. In other words, somebody died, someplace burned, someone was robbed, or somebody cursed. Inchoate or incomplete crimes set forth unwanted behavior that is prohibited not because it is a specific bad act, but because these things either lead to the commission of a crime or are done in support of a crime. And our three inchoate crimes are solicitation, attempt, and conspiracy. Here's the thing. Inchoate crimes are not crimes in themselves, but instead attach themselves to general crimes to create a completely new crime. For example, murder on its own is a general crime. But attempted murder is an inchoate crime because there is no murder, but society does not want people to ever try and attempt to murder other people. These are two different types of crimes. Go to the next slide. We analyze inchoate offenses using the same 5 elements that we relied on when looking at complete crimes. So let's use these elements to look at our first inchoate crime, attempt. The crime of attempt is not codified in Virginia law, but is instead part of English common law. What does that mean? It means that our law on attempt in Virginia is the same as the law on attempt in Great Britain prior to the American Revolution. What did that look like? Common law attempt is an unfinished crime, so no crime was completed, and we have two elements. The offender had the intent to commit the crime, and the offender did a direct act towards its consummation or completion, but fell short of the accomplishment of the ultimate design. In other words, the offender wanted to commit the crime, and the offender got awfully close to completing its commission. Let's look at Code of Virginia section 18.232, which is our murder in the first degree statute, to see what attempt looks like in Virginia. Our mens rea is to intend to willfully, deliberately, and with premeditation commit murder. But our actus reus is different. We're not looking to see if someone killed somebody. Instead, we're looking to see things like, did someone plan the murder? Did they buy the gun? And did they fire at the victim and miss? Here's the thing, you need to have that mens rea for each step listed under the actus reus. With proximate cause, the offender shot at the victim or got real close to committing the crime, and our corpus delicti is evidence of the attempt, not a dead body. So, can you unattempt a crime? The answer is no. A defendant can be convicted of attempt even if he abandons the act. Go to the next slide. Our next inchoate offense is solicitation. Solicitation is when one person attempts to persuade another person to commit a crime. This is codified in the Code of Virginia. Code of Virginia section 18.2-29 states, any person who commands, entreats, or otherwise attempts to persuade another person to commit a felony shall be guilty of a felony. We need mens rea and actus reus. Our mens rea is not written into this statute. We need to read intent into this statute. So let's say that the intent is willfully and with the intent to cause someone to commit the crime. Our actus reus is to command, entreat, or otherwise attempt to persuade another to commit a felony. Our concurrence is that we willfully and with the intent to cause someone to commit the crime, command, entreat, or otherwise attempt to persuade another to commit a felony. Proximate cause is the person asking, and our corpus delicti is the request itself. Some examples of solicitation include asking someone, and we're only asking someone to commit murder for hire if they want to buy drugs or if they want to cheat on their taxes. Finally, once another person agrees to help the solicitor to commit the crime, once I've asked you to commit a crime and you say yes, the crime of solicitation merges or becomes a new crime called conspiracy. Go to the next slide. Finally, let's talk about the inchoate offense of conspiracy. A conspiracy is when one person conspires with another person to commit a crime. This is beyond solicitation. This is beyond somebody saying, hey, would you commit a crime with me? Now the other person is saying, you bet I will. So you need at least two people to commit to a conspiracy. There are three parts that make up a conspiracy, and this is very much like a contract, but it's very illegal. There is an agreement between people to engage in conduct that violates the law. These people must know about the conspiracy, and these people knowingly and voluntarily participate in the conspiracy. So, our mens rea is knowingly and voluntarily. Our bad act or actus reus is agreeing to engage in conduct that violates the law, knowing about the conspiracy, and participating in the conspiracy. Our concurrence is knowingly and voluntarily agreeing to engage in conduct that violates the law, knowing about the conspiracy, and participating in the conspiracy. Our proximate cause is doing your part to further the crime or the conspiracy. And the corpus delicti is evidence of the conspiracy. These guys are from Ocean's 11. These guys went and robbed the Bellagio Casino with Danny Ocean at the helm. So these guys robbing the Bellagio Casino is a conspiracy. Go to the next slide. Conspiracies are special types of inchoate offenses because they get quite large. In other words, a lot of people can get wrapped up in a criminal conspiracy. Because of this, we have two specific types of conspiracies to look at: chains versus hub and spoke conspiracies. A chain conspiracy is where one suspect works with a second suspect, who works with a third suspect in support of one goal. Think of it as an automobile assembly line. For example, we've got our drug smugglers who bring their drugs to a citywide drug distributor, who gives those drugs to a street corner drug dealer who sells the drugs to his customers. It goes from one part of the supply chain all the way down to the other part of the supply chain. The street corner drug dealer doesn't have to know the drug smuggler. In fact, the citywide drug distributor doesn't even need to know who gave the drugs to the drug smuggler in the first place. A hub and spoke conspiracy is where a suspect, the hub, engages with other suspects, the spokes, to commit multiple conspiracies in support of one goal. That's a lot like the Corleones or this guy's family, Tony Soprano. He's the hub, and all these guys around him, Silvio, Polly Walnuts, everybody you see here are spokes. They're all spokes on a conspiracy. They're in support of one goal, which is running the family, but there's multiple criminal acts that these guys do to further that goal. Thank you for watching this lecture, and I look forward to seeing you in class.